Well, good morning. It's a new day, new beginning, first day of school for many, and it can be a fresh start. And why could this be a fresh start? Well, over the weekend and taking some time to really reflect on my life and what's been going on, I've been looking at some things. And the things that I've been looking at that really and particularly stick out for me is the fact that the model of the world, or how we see the world and how we are placed in the world, is based upon our upbringing, our experiences, and what we've been exposed to in respect to the environments we come from. And when I looked at those three areas, it's very interesting that if we have a challenge, or we have a piss poor attitude, or we have something that is contributing to us in a negative way, it stems from one of those three areas. And if it stems from one of those three areas, we can actually identify the problem and the root cause and possibly fix it, or at least make an attempt to say, this is where my problem stems from, but I'm not ready to address it yet. And when we look at experiences, they can be positive or negative. But the truth is, that's where our answers lie. When we look at our environments, those can be positive or negatives. But that's where our truth lies of who we are and why we are how we are. And if we look at our upbringing, how we were raised, ultimately, that is a huge asset to know about and understand. Because when you can understand those three areas, you can explore your own personal web or way of understanding how those three areas contribute to you today. And if we can understand how those three areas contribute to you today, we can look at the things that are the most challenging, the most difficult, maybe the things that are holding you back because you have a piss poor attitude, maybe the things that are contributing to your high drug use because you're covering up feelings of pain and hurt and frustration of the past, maybe that you can't process failures or disappointments properly, maybe you feel that you don't have the confidence to be competent in living in the world that we live in today. And if those are some of the things that we're facing right now, the best way to really assess that and understand it is by looking at those three areas: upbringing, experiences, and environment. And when you can put those three things together and assess them fully for yourself as an individual, you won't be a product of the world. You will be able to discover the world because you're actually uncovering your true self, because you're identifying the root cause. You're not doing a surface level thing. You're doing a deep introspective piece. And that deep introspective component consists of those three areas that need to be assessed thoroughly. You need to understand them. You need to really get to grips with it. If you had dealt with some kind of trauma or sexual abuse, if you dealt with, being abandoned, if you dealt with the fact that your parents didn't raise you properly, or they left you alone, if there are those things that have happened to you, those are things that are contributing to your attitude and possibly to the outcome of your life. And what we need to come to grips with is we need to identify it. We need to bring it to the surface. We need to expose it. We need to be honest about it, and then we need to fix it. And then once we learn how to fix it, we can then be better. And that ultimately is the process in life. So what I would encourage my viewers and people who are out there listening to me right now is this: explore your web, explore what's going on in your mind, explore your experiences, negative or positive, explore your upbringing, negative or positive, explore your environments. And when you explore those three elements, come to grips with the things that are contributing to who you are today, and really attach them to those three areas, and then understand it. And then, when you understand it, come up with solutions on how to be better. And once we're able to do that, we don't have to rely on the medical model anymore. We don't need to rely on counselors anymore. We don't need to rely on drugs anymore. We can rely on ourselves, because we then become resilient enough within who we are and feel comfortable within our skin that we develop the self-esteem and the confidence to be competent to live in a world that is really a destructive world that wants to see us fall at the hands of not being resilient and replacing resiliency with alcohol, drug use, trauma, harming oneself, or even harming someone else through violence if it's to take someone's life. That's what the world wants us to do. They don't want us to be resilient anymore. So it's time for us to do that. To be accountable and responsible to oneself is by identifying those three areas and understanding how those three areas contribute to you today. Everybody have a great start to your day. I'll look forward to talking to you later, and feel free to share this video with as many people in the world, because we can't heal the world except when we heal ourselves. And to heal ourselves means that we should start looking within ourselves, but people have to get this message out there. Let's see what we can do.